right, go ahead. About yoked together, when we talk about how to treat your spouse, it is the exact same issue that we have here. When someone is pulling the line, and let's say Crystal doesn't know that I'm here. I mean, obviously she can hear my skateboard, she can feel me, she's scared of me, she knows I'm there. So let's say I'm invisible. And I'm using that analogy because anyone could tow along a best friend into a marriage and not tell you about it. Now the question is after it's revealed that Boomer has the skateboarding friend or ski trip friend or hiking club friend or somebody that in the summertime meets up with that person who's the opposite gender. Let's say it's platonic. Let's say it's not sexually grounded. It's not anti-sexual, it's just not the basis of the relationship. So when they get together, they still fuck. But it's not the same type of thing as like a family fuck. It's a lustful, carnal fuck. Let's say that kind of energy was going on. And you find out about it way too late, like 20 years too late, let's say. Then what do you do to that person? Because the relationship is no longer like that. You know, maybe they agreed to stop meeting up. But let's say you found out all of the photos all at once and you're devastated. What are you going to do? How do you approach such a fraud as that? Where they justified it between themselves to be yoked with your marriage. They justified it behind your back with photos and said that the photos prove they're not trying to hide anything and that you didn't want to watch the photos. You didn't want to see the photos. That's why they didn't show the photos. So I think both of them are in trouble because both of them know you. And both of them have an obligation to honor or respect you. And both of them chose not to include you in the post-fun or the pre-excitement of about to use your money to go have fun without you. And to treat you that low is despicable to God, because what if you're God's chosen? What if you're somebody like that has a destiny that's worth millions? And it's just like, that's the point of why you're being used that way, is that they look at you like a fucking battery. They look at you like they look at God. And that's not how God wants us to behave. So God's teaching us through our relationships with people, even though the ones that are in poverty now, who don't have a clear vision and don't have a clear clear pathway set for their future. They don't know like how things are going to work out, but they have hope that it will work out. They hope they're going to run into the right people that it's going to work out. But even those people are being taught this exact same lesson in this world, that this is the key, that God wants us to have grace for what we're receiving and have grace throughout the entirety of our experience. Even if we're facing our enemies, we were to come in with a smile. We were to come into, oh, there you are again. I remember you. You know, it's to remember the conflict from the previous lifetime. Don't just like, oh, have fear and then just give up and run away. Like that. That's not how the devil wants you to behave. The devil wants you to be confident that even win or lose, there's still a light at the end of the tunnel. There's still God. You know, we're still going to go back to God. And so that fear and suffering and punishment, God knows that the devil knows. Now, that secret that the devil knows is just that no matter what the devil did to Adam and Eve, that you surely shall not die. What does that mean for Adam and Eve? That means that he knew Jesus Christ would go to hell and get them out, because it wasn't the plan, right? So he's basically intercepting the souls of these two people by having sex with them. The angel did have a three-way with both of them. That confrontation with the devil and Adam and Eve was a sexual confrontation, and that confrontation was cursed because it was not the will of God that the devil treated them that way. But sex was envied by many angels after the devil. So when the devil set that pathway, he set that pathway for any who would fall. And so it said a third of the stars had fallen. What did they fall for? They fell for lust. because that example of a three-way is in a three-way situation, is to feed each other's ego while feeding each other immorally in the carnal flesh, and the carnal flesh will transfer the energy back, and so they just keep recycling the same energy off the third party at the expense of the one who doesn't know. And if one of them should find out that the other one knows, they all have to end the game and choose a different battery. They got to go after a different angel. And so they'll play along and they'll mirror the angel because they don't have any other way to go. They don't have any fresh example and they don't have any fresh energy from that angel. So now all they can do is just mimic what they just experienced. And it's weird because it actually is their energy now, because now it's legitimately an imprint on their character. That's, this is the type of thing that happens. They get so wrapped up together that their energy is indistinguishable. I can even let go of the leash. They can't go anywhere because they're too dumb to keep their yoke from conflicting against their own directions. So they don't have their priorities straight. They don't time manage. They can't manage their steps. And so they could never get that cat that just jumped in the tree. There's just nothing they can do to succeed. But going on the property is not going to happen. I'm not let them do that. So going on other people's property is the angel's responsibility to make sure that they at least stay in some kind of lane, while they're learning this lesson, because it's the yoke itself that we need to learn. It's the rules of the yoke, the vows itself, that we're not obedient to both parties. I mean, the fact that this person is still yoked to this person after so many years of being betrayed, it shows that they're both on the same path, and none of them are right or wrong. It's the fact that they continue to work together and grow towards the truth that the third party exists, and both don't want to admit it. Just think of that. Both of them are lying to themselves that the third party doesn't exist, and it's the devil. The whole world is deceived that the third party doesn't exist, that ghosts aren't real, that spiritualness is not real, that spiritual gifts are not real, that psychic's not real, that divination's not real, that all of these things aren't real. UFOs, the things that make people scared. I said what, Crystal? Dame. Come on. So we have to deal every single day with this illusion that evil is integrated into the society safely, and that we're supposed to exonerate those who report their evil on a daily basis and pay their taxes while they commit evil, and then somehow evil's good, and somehow evil is a service, and then we're going to live that way forever in the house that they made. But that's an abomination. So what happens over time is it grows, like what any of these big cities, like New York or LA, we see that big fire. So karma grows, and when you have a lot of ignorance in one place, you'll see the punishment through the ignorance. So God doesn't even really have to do anything, because the goodness itself will overcome evil, not because good rises and evil falls. I mean, that's part of the equation, but it's not the reason why evil fails. The reason why evil fails up against goodness is because goodness is merciful forgiveness and lets them have the free will to do it. So God's so amazing that would let us go off the pathway knowing that it will fall on our own sword. There is no, if God's wrath comes, it's just a giant Leviathan. That's just the devil. And it's just crude and magnificent. It's nothing, it's a spectacle, of course. It's something to look at, but it's the physical, wiping the map. If you played Slither.io, it's pretty clear. The fatter your snake, the harder you are to kill. But what happens if you have infinite time and space and your snake never got killed and you just kept eating shit and you're so massive that you just fell asleep, and then like eons later you wake up and there's more that came, but they don't see you because you're so massive. That is what's going on. The devil is so much bigger than our eyeballs that we can't actually fathom God or the work of the devil. So it's like it's invisible to our eyes, but in the 5D, the mass is clear. The gravity is obvious. Where the gravity goes, you can feel the force. But sentient beings on Earth, there's only a 1% of us that are empathic enough to connect on the collective. And so the collective is actually the sensitive side of humanity that uses the Wi-Fi to tap into. I use that phrase kind of the same way you hear it. When we say tap in, we just mean connect, dial up, like AOL, you've got mail. It's the same shit, but like you're doing it in your gut and in your sacral, in your heart, and they all line up to create that field. That, you know what, Boomer? Stop pulling that way. We're going that way. Boomer. He always wants to try to go somewhere I don't want to go. See? He's trying to cross the path. So when they cross, basically, we need to stick to the point. When the devil eats, okay, he just swallows. There's no chewing. There's no, and that's why they say grind a gnat and swallow. I say grind a gnat and swallow a fortune in one day. Like, it's just like, I let my fortune go in a day. I didn't hesitate to release it back to God. And I strain on the gnat means that I make all of the pathways in the juice of a single fly known that is of the brood sac. It's I'm teaching this in depth because it's the super hardest lesson to integrate into your character, that you have to have that boundary line up between the massive and the weak. Because if you don't set it, they'll walk all over you. And that's why I have to live the way that I'm living. They call it the hermit card, but it's the fool. It's a hermit fool. He's foolish. Look at it. He doesn't work. He doesn't talk to anyone. He follows no one. And then evil tries to leech off him because of the wealth. The wealth transfer is too massive. And since he doesn't grasp it, it just grows every eternity. And so he has like multiple $1 million heirs on this thing, and people are trying to kill him. But see, what they don't see is the chosen one is the one that bears the cross in the Old Testament. But we don't see that because they don't want to confuse us that there's multiple Jesuses. They don't want that. They don't want there to be more than one Jesus because it's confusing. Then you gotta go and do all the Dalai Lama studies, and it's way easier just to have one Jesus at the beginning of time, and then just reset the hour clock and be like, yeah, that's where time started. And then they just started from there when Jesus died. And that's not how it works. The soul reincarnates. Jesus was saying that constantly, that we are all children of God, and we all return. We all have to learn these lessons, and we're all going to move towards the Christ, meaning move towards the springtime, move towards the child that's born pure, that's not born with the burden of sin. In fact, that's the cult buster mentality, somebody who wants to teach the gangs, that they're weak because they need a gang. Whereas I'm like by myself in the game, and I'll knock 3 of them out, and the last one standing finally gets me, not out of skill, but because I'm out of stamina or I'm out of health, and my bulletproof vest has got too many holes in it, so his last little pea shooter thing got through, and he luckily got me. And it's not luck, it's just 4 against 1, you're gonna overcome. But they still don't overcome because 3 are dead. What's that 4th gonna do now? Is that a celebration for him when he goes? Is he gonna take the queen now? No, he's gonna be fucking half dead and bleeding and sorry that he lost his best friends over their stupidity. Because the reason why he's still living is because he didn't even want to do it. He got dragged into it over a phone call. He wasn't a part of the main group. He's just a backup, but that backup is what avenged the evil's death. The purity of the good one in the group could take out the martyr. It's like, okay, look at it the same way as Jesus got sacrificed. You got King Herod, and you got the other king, Nebuchadnezzar, or was it, not Nebuchadnezzar, Pontius Pilate, that's right. You got Pilate, and then you got Herod. They hated each other until they started fucking with Jesus. Then they're like, shit, who is this guy? They started making jokes together. And they actually got fond of Jesus because of how much shit that they had to deal with him. So when it came to judging him and hanging him, it had nothing to do with them. They actually were going to set him free. But it's the people's cry, like, no, he's dead. He should die, But really what they want is more miracles. They want it to be acknowledged by the king. Boomer, Crystal doesn't want to go. Come on. She doesn't want to go too far. Come on. What are you doing to me? Come on. Boomer, this side. This side, Boomer. Boomer. So you can learn a lot just by reading the Bible again, like more literally. Instead of trying to find some hidden message, just read it as it is. Because it's supposed to be read plainly. It's not supposed to be some kind of, and it does have lots of hidden meaning, and it does overlap, and it does foreshadow. It has every element of writing. You can learn all about how to write from the Bible. Because there's symmetry, there's repetition, there's allegory, there's metamorphosis. You got it all. There's no other book like it. That's because God stacked it up for us over every eternity. We think it's a one-time shot. That book was written over every eternity and revised by every culture. We know it. That's why we hate it. It's because it's truth. People don't want the truth. They want the fucking entertainment value of it. They want to get the entertainment out of it. Because it's boring being human and having no control. You know, it's like, this time, let me... That's why we like drugs. Like, this time, let me hold the match and burn down the house. Let me be the one that's the arson. Because you're burning my life down. God, let me burn something down before you take me down. But I'm the one that didn't do that. I sustained my enemy. Look at them all on my Facebook. Every single one of these people that are not my family members are my enemy. Or was playing the role of taking part of that competition with me. So I am the walking, living embodiment of what it means to be like Christ, as close as you can get, without the religious part. I mean, without the attachment to say, oh, I got to be at Sunday church, and I got to, you pray daily, and obviously, God said pray incessantly. So I'm in prayer mode incessantly. And there's so many of you out there that are exactly in my position, where we're just waiting for the prize, eagerly and patiently and loyally waiting, and we have our shield up, and we have our knowledge of it. This is just the Ephesians armor stuff I'm repeating. We wave our mighty sword around, which is our tongue wagging around. That's the sword of truth. That we know the justice is going to be delivered through our word and through the words that we define as judgment upon the earth. Because the meek inherit it and the meek rise. You got false judges throughout the Bible. Look at that. Look at the way that God treats the false judges. Look at the way Jesus' brother talks about it. I mean, they're in big trouble. They get the reward immediately, but they get a real lashing at the end. We get this other lashing, which is like way lighter. Especially the teachers, they get even heavier judgment for saying they're a teacher. I say lead by example rather than speak. So you're going to hear this. You can't really teach people by talking, right? Because even if you do, they're not going to give you the credit if they agree. So later when they agree, they don't remember where they heard it. Or if they do, they go, oh, so-and-so said that. I'm going to reword it my way. And they'll take it to heart. And they'll embody it, because that's what true listening means, is that you didn't just hear the word, but it became a part of your being. So how do you swallow knowledge? How do you put it into your heart? And it says, I think Psalms 1:1 is the best, because that's my favorite, is saying that he takes the word every day and then meditates it at night. So he actually takes in the word, takes in the message, then he meditates it all throughout the day. Then at night, he thinks about it again. It's like constantly revisiting the same thing. So you're actually expecting it in threes. So when you have these visions or clues from God, they'll come in waves of three. You'll see pomegranate here, pomegranate there, and pomegranate there. But it will be throughout a one-day experience. And that will be your clue that God's trying to tell you. It could be anything. Just because it was a pomegranate for me recently, that's why I use that example. But these are like evidence of deja vu being a proof of eternity. Now, the only way to get canceled out of eternity and not rebirthed on the next one is because you waited too long to execute your talent, your given talent, that was supposed to be to service people, and you were a lazy servant because you did not comply at the right timing, so then you lost your inheritance. Or you used your skill in a way that's different than what was natural. So you perverted the... Damn, it's 20 minutes. Okay. you perverted the mission. It's like you're told to do something, and then you go about to do it and you accomplish it, but you don't stop there. You got to add some extra shit to it and make the message, or you make the mission like a different part that brings attention somewhere else, and basically a third of the stars go a different direction. So remember, when we're yoked, we got to make sure we're transparent, and that's really going to be a difficult task for you. But remember, when you come into a relationship, there's really not much to hide. You can hide debt, you can hide wealth if you're not in debt. Most people are in debt. You could hide past friendships, you could hide lovers that were not in a relationship with you, but you still have lust for. You can hide those people, and you can get in trouble for that later also. You have to be transparent with every story. For example, every relationship that you've been in that might come swinging back around to check if you're a single because their relationship didn't work out and they want to, get a rerun, right? And see if you can drop your guard and let them in and maybe fuck up your marriage. These are why you got to be transparent, so that your spouse can protect you from that person. You know this, so use your gut. When you lie about something so precious as your best friend, you basically say to your spouse later when they find out that you're not as good as their best friend. Regardless of what you say as the excuse or how you want to justify it emotionally, you know beyond that day that your days are numbered with that person because you were dishonest and you were not clear, and the other person was clear, and the other person was honest with you about their sin, which was weird because the person who sinned did the exact same sin as you, just that they were honest about it both before, during, and after the experience, that they were in love with you and they were still going through this phase with someone else, and they need you to wait and be patient while they resolve this, but that ultimately it'll end in your favor. And then they were transparent, and they were even generous back and said, because you were patient, I'm going to give you my best man for a one-night stand. I'm going to do this, this, and this for you. And she took it without transparency, without her sin being revealed. She took that too. That's the fat type of snake. That's the reason why God doesn't like the devil, because he's fat, and he's the biggest slither.io there is. He's just so fat that he doesn't have to move. And if he does move, it would draw attention to that he exists. So that's why he doesn't move much except to eat. And when he eats, he swallows the map around him. He just opens his mouth and just everybody goes in trying to get their fucking needs met. They think they're going to make friends with him, or they think blah, blah, blah. So he comes in all forms, and that's why they say he's like an angel of light, is that when he picks each one, he seduces them in a way they can't say no. He doesn't come to make peace. He comes to devour and to destroy you. So he's going to be like Cupid's arrow. It's not going to miss. When it hits, it's going to hit, and you're going to know that it's from the devil, and you're going to know that it wasn't fair, and you're going to know there's nothing you can do about it, and there's no escape. And so that's why know your rank, and respect evil for what it is. It's a sharpening stone, and just stay the hell out of the way of trouble. My uncle used to say that, when you hear my speeches, you'll always hear about Native American stuff too, which is stay out of harm's way. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to get hurt. Don't be risking your life, In other words, live inside of your means. This plant's the philodendron right here. The juice in this full-grown one like this, is like aloe inside of here. And if you eat this, it will stab your throat psychically. It will stab you. It's the most excruciating pain that you could ever feel. It's like a needle going into your throat, but let's say 10 of them. There's 10 syringes inside your throat. It will kill you pretty much if you take too much. But if you just put a little drop on your tongue to experience this, it's so fucking wicked. It will anticipate when you're about to wince, and then it will dodge your wince. As soon as you release that wince, it will stab you for it. Oh, you thought you were tricky. Boom. So you might as well not wince, or we're going to make it hurt more. And you can't wash it off with milk or with water. You have to just keep suffering until, it does ease the pain when the water flows over it, but then it just stabs you a whole bunch after you go through that. All right. So the message is, again, same thing. Be careful who you yoke yourself to. I think it should be, I don't know. I don't want to get into chemistry, but I really hate liars. I think that the lie is so cool because we can lie through our actions, and it's just like a stage magician. We just play along with this, patter that we make up, and we go, look there, not here, while I do this. And they even tell you what they're doing, but they leave out the part of what else they're doing. So the truth is the lie. And that is the thing that God will always punish more severely, is when somebody is saying one thing and doing another. And with that, collective, let this small message go to your heart. Pray in Jesus' name, everybody who finds this message swallows this whole, becomes a part of their soul, and then they move forward with transparency, fairness, and treats everybody knowing that justice will come to those who use the truth in order to tell lies